What's up guys, I'm Jim with Prevelo bikes, and today we're going to talk about some common issues that we see with the brakes during assembly on the Alpha Series bikes. Alright guys, so with introductions over, we're going to get up close and personal with the brakes on our Alpha Series bike. So to get started, some of the common issues that we see during assembly are all really easy to fix, and most of them are just caused from really simple mistakes. So this bike was already fully assembled and the brake is currently functioning properly. So when I pull the brake, you can see both arms are moving evenly, and when you spin the wheel, there's no rubbing. The brake stops as it should. Okay, now one of the most common things that we see is when the bike is assembled, the front wheel is put in crooked. So the wheel will be cocked to the side. What that's gonna cause is basically, it'll look just like this. So the wheel's gonna rub when it goes around, and only one brake arm will move. The brakes aren't functioning at the same rate. To fix that, all you want to do is loosen up the axle and push the wheel into the fork and make sure it's inserted all the way. When you look at it, the space between the brake pad and the rim should look even on both sides, and the wheel should just look centered in the fork. So if you look at the bike from the same angle you're looking at it now, you'll be able to tell if the wheel is crooked. If you have already done that and the wheel looks like it's straight and there's still something that just isn't right and the brakes are rubbing, it's just a really simple adjustment with a Phillips head screwdriver. Okay, so with a Phillips head screwdriver, on each side of the brake, there is a small Phillips head screw. Okay, what that screw does is adjust the spring tension of that brake arm. So each side has this, okay? So let's say on this side, since it's already functioning properly, I wanna mess it up, okay? If I loosen this screw, I'm taking the spring tension off of this arm. So now when I pull it, this arm is probably just gonna stay in one spot and the other one will have all the tension, right? Yeah, so when I spin the wheel, the brake is rubbing on this side, okay? So to fix that, so if you receive a bike like this and it's doing that, what you would wanna do is just tighten that screw until the brakes start to move evenly from side to side, okay? Super easy adjustment. Right. Now, one of the other common things that we see, so when we ship this bike to you, there's no wheel in and the brake is already attached to itself. So you unhook it and then you slide the wheel in. Some people, when they do that, they bump the brake. Now what that's gonna do, so first it can pop that cable out, which isn't a big deal at all. But the second thing that it can do, which causes an issue, is there's a little spring back here. So this little guy, it is just like a metal rod that sticks out. That's actually the brake spring that we just adjusted. So if that spring is sticking out, again, when you pull it, it has no tension because the spring's not attached, okay? So if you can see that when it's sideways, there's two tabs on the side of the brake arm there. So to fix this, all you do is just push that spring back underneath the arm and it'll function just like normal. That can happen on both sides. Again, really, really easy fix. Now this cable sticking out, that's not a big deal. It's probably gonna happen just from the kid riding or dropping the bike or hitting it or whatever they may do. They're kids, right? So this the same thing. This little tab on the bottom, you'll be able to see that it has a little groove in it. That groove is meant for this cable to just tuck right back there. On the front, it's really not a big deal if that pops out. If it pops out on the back, what's going to happen is when this is sticking out, every single time your kid is pedaling, their leg could be hitting this. It's annoying, but what really ends up happening is the cable will start to tear at the top after a little while. And when these tear, it's braided steel. So when it tears, it's basically like little steel pricks. And if it scratches your leg, it actually hurts quite a lot, especially if it like stabs in. So it becomes a little bit of a safety issue. So if you see that it has already started to fray, the only fix that you can do is replace the cable. Cables are cheap, just go to a local bike shop and have it replaced. But if you see these sticking out, just tuck it back in. If every single time you see the bike, it's just an issue and your kid knocks it out all the time, you can always put like a little zip tie on here or something like that, just to keep it under. Just if you do put a zip tie, and you cut the end of the zip tie off, make sure that you maybe file it smooth or else the zip tie is just gonna scratch their leg. So those are the main issues that we see that are caused from assembly. Now, there's also some other things that we've seen from crashes. Usually this only affects the front brake, but what will happen is a kid will fall down and the handlebars twist around. If that happens, the cables will all get pulled on. And when a cable gets pulled on, it can actually pull itself out of the brake, okay? So you'll see the brake ends up disconnected like that, and it doesn't function at all. So super dangerous, so you wanna make sure you fix that. Now, if that fell out, it doesn't just fall out, it actually rips itself out, which will damage the brake. This little box here, so this little guy that says Tektro on it, it is, sorry, I had to get my pliers. So that little box, it's a square, okay? So, and where the noodle actually enters the brake arm, there's a little channel, a little groove. So that channel will kind of flare open and let that thing pop out. So if you see that happen, grab a set of pliers, needle nose pliers, whatever you have, and just bend it back so that the box sits square again. And when you reconnect this brake, everything should slide in, and you should be able to pull that brake really hard, like as hard as you can pull, and that little noodle shouldn't pop out. If you pull it and the noodle pops out, super dangerous. So you wanna just tweak it and make sure that it's in there all the way. If it just seems dangerous, the metal may be bent a lot and you don't feel comfortable bending it back, the fix is just to replace the entire brake system. We have brakes in stock, so you can call us, but these are also just standard brakes that you can buy from any local bike shop. If a local bike shop doesn't have Tektro brakes, maybe they have Shimano or something different. Any of those are fine. Just make sure that you have clearance between the tire and the brake when it's installed. And I would also just recommend that the bike shop do the install for you. If you have any other questions or issues during assembly, just give us a call. You're most likely going to talk to myself when you call, or you can shoot us an email and we'll do everything that we can to get you helped out and taken care of. All right, thanks for your time today, guys.